So the main event for International Fight Week is going to be Ilia Topuria taking on Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight belt. Now, do I wish it was Islam Makhachev versus Ilia? Yeah, but this is fine. But I'm here to tell you, this isn't a competitive fight. It really isn't. Ilia is going to be minus 350, and what he's sitting at right now, he's minus 350. The comeback on Oliveira is plus 285. And let me start this off. I just watched both these guys fight recently, like literally a couple hours ago. Let me start this off by saying I respect Charles Oliveira. And I know that I say this fight's not competitive, but I can't count Charles out all the time. I can't count him out fully. You already know who I'm picking. It's very simple. I can't count him out fully because the guy is that dangerous. He's very notorious for his finishing ability, whether it's with the hands, whether it's with the submissions, right? He is a fantastic finisher. So I can't count him out entirely, but okay, let me give him some more respect. In that example, I'll give you an example here. It's think about the Arman fight. The Arman fight with Charles, there was 1 second in that first round, right? Arman, I don't remember what it was. I think he got his leg kicked out or he slipped up. Just like that, his neck's wrapped up in a guillotine, like a fight-ending submission right there. He ended up getting out, but you know what I mean? One mistake could be the end of the fight, right? So there's no way I can count him out fully, okay? Because of his finishing ability, because of that prowess. But when I watch these two guys fight, it's not going to be close, I think. I mean, there might be a moment for Charles, but the person consistently winning, and in my eyes, I think he wins in the first round. I think Ilia is going to knock out Charles in the first round. Look, man, there's going to be some advantages for Charles. He's 5'10" with a 74-inch reach, and he's been at lightweight for a while. Now, we don't know how much time, I guess, because Ilia vacated his belt, how much time Ilia's been, putting into bulk up to 55 the right way. You know what I mean? So we don't know exactly, but I assume, he talked about how much it's a problem. So I assume he's going to be in good shape. Now, when I watch these guys fight, different fighters, they're really honestly, you watch the guys that Oliveira faces, and I'll be frank here. I don't even think the guys that Oliveira faces, they're just not nearly as good as Topuria, but they have the same kind of style, but they're just not as good, right? Whether it's Gaethje, Gaethje is wild, chaotic, but he's explosive and he hits hard, right? Whether it's Poirier, same kind of style, Chandler, all these guys are, older, not that explosive, don't fight the right way to beat Oliveira. And these guys are having moments, by the way. They're knocking him down. They're hurting him. And I have one main problem with this fight for Charles is that he is a guy that needs to be fighting on the front foot and needs to be in the fire, right? He needs to be right in the middle. He cannot be backing up. He can't fight like that. You watch Ilia fight Max. You watch Ilia fight Volk. And this is why I think Ilia makes it look easier than those guys. Because these guys can move, right? Max Holloway is great footwork. Volkanovski, fantastic footwork. They know they can't sit in the pocket with Topuria because he's gonna land something hard. And he's better there. He's better than everybody there. And that's the number one thing, is to stay at range and use your footwork to get in and out. Charles doesn't have good footwork. When this comes to the striking, Charles is dangerous, sure. He's more dangerous than Holloway. He's more dangerous than Volk, but his technical ability is nowhere near, not even close. He cannot move backwards. He just can't. I mean, every single time, not every single time, but most of the time he's getting knocked down, it's when he's backing up. This is a fight where if Charles isn't able to come forward and really get in Ilia's face and show him, make him respect him, he's gonna get knocked out. Topuria is the best when it comes to putting you on the fence and finishing fights there. That's where he wants to be. And I just don't think Oliveira is going to be able to, avoid some of these shots because his footwork isn't good. It's not. When it comes to the striking, Charles, he's not a bad striker. I think the most underrated and not talked about skill of Charles Oliveira is his clinch game. It's beautiful. It really is. And, if he's able to implement the clinch, I think he can win the fight potentially or have a lot more success. But if he's not, he's going to get killed, man. I just, his clinch game, Charles's clinch game, and I know I said the fight wasn't competitive. I apologize, but I really think highly of it. Watch the Dustin Poirier fight. He's just piercing these knees right into the stomach. It's nasty work. And if he's able to, do that, I think he might have more success. But when the fight's on the feet, I just can't unsee him getting hit. I can't, like, hard and getting dropped and near and getting finished. Maybe, maybe Ilia drops him with some big shot and Ilia goes into the guard and Charles submits him. Maybe that's a way he wins. If that's one way I could see him potentially winning, the other one is trying to offensively wrestle Topuria. And Charles, by no means, he's not a bad wrestler at all, right? He excels at when he's able to put you on the fence and trip you or take your back from that position. But his wrestling overall to get you to the ground is not the best, okay? I know he looked good against Chandler in his last one. He kind of had this more patient approach. And I know people are going to watch that and be like, you see this patient approach kind of from Oliveira. Maybe if he can just do this against support, it's not going to work. I'm sorry, man. Because one, Michael Chandler's moving backwards. He telegraphs his shots. They're very easy to see coming. He's nowhere near as explosive. He's nowhere near as fast. And he's not going to, he was moving back a lot of that fight. Ilia is not going to move back, man. It's just a tough matchup, man, for Charles. And like I said, if he's able to get the offensive grappling going, sure, I think he can, have success there. But you got to remember, Topuria is a wrestler, is a grappler at heart, taken down and controlled by Mitchell momentarily, really. But Mitchell's a great grappler, Look, man, if Islam Makhachev was in front of Ilia Topuria this, in 317 main event, I'd probably pick Islam. I do think he's just too big. He's going to be able to get takedowns, and his footwork is better than Oliveira. I just think the footwork is a huge factor here. And like I said, that's why I'd pick Makhachev, because Makhachev actually does have good footwork. He can move in and out. He times takedowns well. His wrestling is top-notch. I think he'd beat Topuria. Oliveira, I don't think he can, man. I think the odds are correct here. Minus 350 still, in my eyes, seems like a little bit of a steal, man. And I really think Ilia is going to knock him out in the first round. Oliveira, I feel like he's a guy who's never been, like, knocked out clean. Like, with, I don't know, because has he been knocked out clean? Like, I know he's in the past had some issues quitting and stuff, but I don't know if he's been knocked out clean or hurt that badly, right? He kind of, like, pulls guard and does this weird thing. I don't know if he's ever been hurt that badly. I think the most hurt I've ever seen him from personally was probably in the Chandler fight, where he was, like, ducking down and trying to grab. He was hurt badly there. But I just don't understand, like, what his durability is like. It's going to be tested a lot because he's going to get hit with some big shots. And I just don't think it's a good matchup for him at all. This is going to be an Ilia knockout, and this is going to be an Ilia knockout early, I believe. I think the biggest weapon, like I said before, is Oliveira's clinch game. I think that's his best weapon here, and especially in front of a smaller opponent who's going to have to close distance. Now, it's not going to be easy to just grab that clinch, but if he's able to do it, he's devastating there, man. He's very, very, very good there. But man, if his footwork's like, I'm going to say this because Charles has that Muay Thai style. So essentially, he doesn't really move. If you ever watch Muay Thai guys, they're not really, moving a whole lot around the ring, right? They're just kind of standing in front, landing kicks, landing punches. And then if you get too close, they grab clinch. That's essentially what Oliveira does. He doesn't move his feet that well. I'm not saying he couldn't adapt to that, but from what I've seen, if he's fighting like that, he's not gonna win. He's not gonna win, man. He's gonna get knocked out, and he gets knocked out early, man. Man, I'm excited for the fight, man. I know it's not gonna be the best buildup. It's probably not gonna be as good of a buildup as Ilia versus Makhachev. It definitely isn't, and not as much hype. But man, I'm excited. We're getting a former champion, one of the best lightweights ever, taking on a guy who's just dominated everybody, undefeated. But man, I think Topuria is going to knock him out in the first round. That's how I see it. Ilia is going to give up size here, but that's never been a problem for him. And he's in front of a guy who's going to give him the kind of fight that he wants. And that's the most important thing. So that's going to be my pick. I'm going to go with Ilia. I'm going to go with Ilia with a first round TKO. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.